And you know, you've heard of the freshman 15. Well, get ready for the freshman 500. I've been saying that joke for years. I'm glad I finally got to say it on the channel. What's up, Bean Crew? I woke up this morning and I was 448.5 pounds. And I don't know if you've already heard about it from the shorts and on Instagram, but yeah, I was that a couple of days ago. Then I had a little bit of a thing day and I went back up to the 50s and now I'm back down again. So that's that whole situation. But I don't think I've told you in the long form videos. I'm not even sure I told you on the YouTube shorts, which is a whole thing. So I just wanted you to know that I am in fact down into the 440s. So that's really, really good, and I'm really happy about that. I've noticed some changes with myself. I noticed I'm a bit more of a busybody, you know. I'm moving around more. I'm getting stuff done. You've heard about that, though. Yesterday, I was at the grocery store taking my grandmother and my aunt, and normally I sit in the car and wait for them, but I just couldn't stay still as long as I had to for that. So I got into the car, and I walked around a little bit. I looked at some apartments, and I even went to this pawn shop and checked this out. I got a smartwatch. It's like a Samsung Galaxy Watch. A little picture of an otter on there, if you can see that. Oh, there's no It turns off when you point away from it. But it's rose gold with a leather strap, and I got it for $79. And yeah, it's just because I walked quite far away from the grocery store to the pawn shop, and yeah, that's just an interesting thing I've had, you know. I can't sit still anymore, and I found, like, even I'm having a distaste for the smart TV. Like, you know, you heard me talk about the laptop just a couple days ago, about how much I don't like being on the laptop anymore, and how I've kind of gotten rid of that addiction, you know, and I'm not, you know, watching endless amounts of YouTube anymore. But even when I wake up in the morning, I had the smart TV in my living room, right? And I was like, hey, yeah, sure, I can watch a little bit of YouTube when I first wake up, while I have my breakfast, while I take my pre-workout, and then I wait for it to kick in, then I go work out, then I come back, eat my breakfast in front of YouTube, and then I start the day. But even now, I'm like, I'm not taking a while to blast off of the smart TV. Like, I used to watch YouTube on the smart TV for breakfast, like, for an hour, maybe 2 hours, and then I get to it. But now, I'm like, as soon as I'm done my breakfast, I'm like, wow, this is awful, and I want to immediately start going. And yeah, I've already talked about what I'm doing. I'm learning French. I'm working on my novel, and I just earlier today, I was well, yesterday, me and Jeffrey were watching Cinemassacre's Monster Madness, and that's been a series I've been obsessed with ever since I was a kid. Me and my best friend Bryce used to watch it, and then I got Jeffrey into the nerd later on when we became best friends. And yeah, I showed him Cinemassacre's Monster Madness, and we were like, yeah, what movie should we watch? And then, you know, we didn't end up watching a movie last night, but today I was like, hey, maybe I'll watch a horror movie. I got all dressed up in a Halloween shirt, and then, you know, this little thing, I like having that. I've been layering more. I've been more fashionable lately, and maybe I'll put a few styles I've had up over here. And yeah, it's been fun, you know, getting dressed up a little bit more, and, you know, putting a little bit more effort into the clothes I'm wearing. And, you know, to get back to the story, I was watching Cinemassacre's Monster Madness. It was like a full hours-long thing of just a compilation of the episodes, and I was like, no, I don't want to watch this anymore, and I don't really want to watch a horror movie. So I just I went over to my desk, put on my laptop, and started editing my novel, and I was like, yeah, this is what I want to do. And it's that engagement, that, like, activity, that electricity in my brain, you know? And, like, the movement in my hands. Like, even when I'm watching TV now, I'm, like, fidgeting, I'm moving around, I, like, can't stay in the same position. I'm like, yeah, man, I gotta move. I gotta move around. At some point, I started sitting in my desk chair and sort of swiveling around while I was watching the smart TV, and then I even broke away from that, and then I was like standing watching the smart TV, and then I like went even further than that, and I'm just straight up not watching the smart TV. Sometimes the smart TV turns on, right, and it's not connected to the internet anymore, and I'll just like give up and not watch while I'm eating breakfast, and that's, I don't know, that feels good. I'm just like, oh, I'll set that up later, and that's good too. That's really, really good too, and I'm just having such a good time with it. and I'm glad to be down in the 40s. I was plateaued for a while. I was stuck at that like 62 to 56 range for so long, and now I'm in this like lower 10-pound bracket, and I'm really excited about that, and I'm being more fashionable, being more active, being more out there. Just a couple days ago, Jeffrey and I were walking around. We walked all the way from the south side of our town, where I live, all the way to the friggin' north side. It was 3 hours of walking, because we walked there, we walked from here to there, and then all the way back, 3 hours. I think it was 13 kilometers. For Americans, that's, what's half of 13? 6.5? That's 6.5 miles for you Americans. 13 kilometers. And yeah, it was crazy. You know, we got back and I was basically a zombie. I had this like pain in my thigh that was like, it wasn't chafing, you know, it was like a deep muscle pain that hurt as I walked, and I was sort of walking like a zombie. At a certain point, I just told Jeffrey, I was like, I gotta do the zombie walk, man. I'm not having a good time. So, no, it's good. But you see, I used to do the zombie walk, like just going around my neighborhood. That was how fat I used to be. I used to walk around my neighborhood, and by the time I was back, like a few houses from my house, I'd be like, all right, I gotta do the zombie walk. And that was a little bit embarrassing, I'll admit. But, you know, after a 3-hour walk to do the zombie walk, I feel like that's not as embarrassing, right? Like, there are plenty of people in the world that are zombie walking after 3 hours. I mean, that's wild. And, of course, I can run for 30 minutes now, so that's cool. Like, I know I said I can't run. I can run for about 4 minutes, right? So just even being able to do that has added a level of realism to my life where I'm like, I am a person who could run if he chose. Like I can go faster somewhere. Like if I gotta get somewhere quick, or if I see someone I know, I can just like friggin' run at them, and I can be like, "Hey, what's up? It's you! I haven't seen you in so long." I'm like a golden retriever person. Like I'm like running up. I'm like, "Hey, what's up? It's been so long." Yeah, that's fun too. There's a lot of fun aspects to getting healthy that people don't really talk about. There's just like little tiny details of fun things that get added to your life as you get healthier. And as you get bigger, you don't notice, but they're all being stripped away from you one thing at a time. And it's this, I don't know, sad, depressing, you know, slow descent into what is inevitably death if you continue down that road. And I'm glad I'm not on that road anymore. I am very, very excited to be on this like new path and discovering new things, and like or discovering old things, I guess, because these were things that I could do when I was younger, and now like, I thought as people get older they just like get shittier and shittier, but they don't. They sometimes get better. I mean, there are 60-year-olds who can do somersaults. There are 60-year-olds who can do backflips. Like, what's with that? What's with that? Like, there's a lot of people out there in the world that'll tell you getting old is a brutal thing that takes everything from me. But I knew this 70-year-old man who used to bring 100-pound bags of potatoes easier than I could at 19. This man was a maniac. He'd bring 3 bags down the stairs at a time. That's 300 pounds of potatoes on his back while I'm struggling, like bringing 1 bag at a time. And he's just like, come on, man, pick up the slack. Come on, work harder. We got to get this done. I'd be like, I'm doing my best, man. This is very difficult. 71 years old, 300 pounds. No problem. The guy was a maniac. But some people can just do that. Some people make better choices in their life that allow them to do that, right? Me, at that age, I hadn't been making smart decisions. I really hadn't been making any decisions, you know, because I was on a pretty tight leash with my mom. You know, she was a very, you know, healthy, fitness nut kind of person. So when I broke away from her, I was like, well, I got no idea what I'm doing. You know, you've heard of the freshman 15. I'll get ready for the freshman 500. I've been saying that joke for years. I'm glad I finally got to say it on the channel.